Welcome to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida's new and exciting weekly radio show. A show focused on businesses in Bay and surrounding counties. Business Between the Lines is hosted by Christy Kirkland, a business accelerator with Answer Marketing, and co-hosted by Jason Price, a video guru with Riplify Media.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
Welcome back, everyone, to ESPN Northwest Florida's Business Between the Lines show. We're back for another episode, and today we have an amazing guest.
We do. Today we have Alan Watson. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about some details about today's guest. So Alan Watson, he has worked in retail since he was 16 for companies like Walmart and Sears. He spent time as a professional musician and played several types of music on the road and in churches as a worship leader and as a student pastor. He has worked at Golf Plus since 1995 and has owned it for the past 6 years. He strongly believes that success is achieved by having a vision for what the future can look like and then being able to chart a course to that end. He has said that too many people say things like, I want money or I want success, but in his eyes, those are not goals. They are the result of goals, like I want to make a certain amount of money by this time when I'm this years old, or I want to have 5 business or locations or something more specific like that, like really dialing it in. He says the keys to his success are a willingness to do whatever is needed, work harder than anyone else, know his end goals before he starts chasing them, and the ability to pivot and change at any time if needed to stay on the path. So, I haven't known Alan for very long, but he seems like an incredible guy, so I'm really excited to have him on the show with us.
Yes, his topic that he's bringing to us today, which is entrepreneurial spirit and the desire to always push forward and grow, is kind of a running theme on several of our shows. Even if we start with another one, it always comes back to that entrepreneurial spirit and some of the power tips and stuff that we can share with everyone, especially because the majority of us, we don't want to stagnate. We really don't. We want to keep moving forward. So don't turn that dial. Don't change that station. Stay tuned. We will be right back with Alan Watson. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back, everyone, to Northwest Florida's ESPN Business Between the Lines. I did it again. I'm just backwards today. We have, as promised, Alan Watson on the show, and he's going to be sharing with us his wealth of knowledge. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say about the entrepreneurial spirit, because that's a passion of mine.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, excited to be sharing with you guys, and definitely talking about business and talking about being an entrepreneur and just everything that comes into starting something and finishing it and never really being happy or satisfied with enough. That's stuff I love to talk about. So excited to be here.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, what do we want to start with?
Well, I think for me, when I think about what I'm trying to do in business, it's the same thing that a lot of people are trying to do, which is, there's a goal in mind. And we talk about goals. Some people's goals are too specific or maybe too high, too lofty, right? So then they can't achieve them, or they sort of drop off halfway there. They go, well, maybe I should have made that goal a little different, or maybe their goal is not specific enough, so they don't really ever know when they've achieved anything. Yeah, I mean, there's no real benchmark, so it's just like, well, I feel like I've done enough, so now it's time to cut out for the day, the week, the month, the year, whatever. And so I think for me, it's like never being satisfied. Not to the point of driving myself crazy, but never being satisfied with enough of whatever it is, and then that just keeps me driving. That just keeps me moving. So
keep pushing that benchmark just a little bit further each time.
Absolutely. I mean, like my wife has a friend who's an astronaut, and he's on the International Space Station, and you
just
say
casually drops like,
right,
and friend is an astronaut, he's in space.
So how in the world?
His wife on the show.
Right. So what I'm saying is, he didn't get there because his goal was to be, a race car driver, or his goal was to be a football player or whatever. To get to that level, to the point where you're in space, that would have had to been your goal, right? That would have
Right.
had to been the end goal. You didn't accidentally divert into being an astronaut.
No, not with all the stuff they got to go through.
You know, for me, it's like I make goals that make sense for me and that are realistic, but at the same time, they have to be achievable too. And so I think again, I just think a lot of people just miss the mark when it comes to goal making or when it comes to how they're going to go about then achieving those goals.
I think there's a element of confusion in perspective that also gets thrown in there. I've had this happen many, many times where an employee is like, well, I could run this company, because they don't see all the behind the scenes, all the things that we are, that we have to handle and multitask and juggle and stuff like that. All they see is, oh, he just breezes in, and says, hey, you doing your job good, and then their perspective of the benchmarks that we set for ourselves and where we're headed and the things that we have to take on kind of throws it off. And then when they go out there and they try to start their own business and reality hits, it just kind of, I don't know, it's just one of those things that you're talking about, the things that we set, people don't always see those.
No, I think there's a lot. I'm so
no,
sorry.
please.
I think there's a lot that people don't see, whether it's the employees, whether it's people, clients, whatever. But yeah, that's where you start to be able to reformulate your goals when they're not realistic, is when you realize what it's going to take to achieve them. So if I'm going to be, moving, let's say I wanted to change careers, or let's say I wanted to own a different type of business than what I'm in now, I need to do the research to figure out what all that's going to entail, and I've got to do the background to figure it all out. A lot of people don't do any of that, so then their goal is just this broad goal of, I want to be an influencer, or I want to be a gamer on YouTube or whatever.
How you gonna get there?
Those
What are
are
you
real
gonna do?
things that can be done.
Right.
Absolutely. But if I want to be a gamer and I want to make money on Twitch or on YouTube, I need a computer, I need a video camera, or more than one. I might need a microphone, some type of mixer. Am I going to edit it myself? Is somebody else going to do it for me? How do I upload it to the platform? Blah, 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 blah. There's so many things that have to go into it. And so a lot of people don't do their due diligence, whether it's an employee like you're talking about, whether it's somebody who just wants to be successful. I've had a few friends who made it to the major leagues as baseball players. None of them stayed forever, but they did a couple of years. The preparation that it took to get there, I can't even imagine. But if I sat down with them and said, how did you make it to the big leagues? They probably wouldn't just say, well, I just found out early that I was pretty good at baseball.
Right.
End of conversation.
Right.
No. And then I trained. And then I got a coach. And then so on and so forth.
For a lot of them, I bet it started off with, I wanted this since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Passion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I love that about the show and bringing you on, because that whole, talking about the whole pursuit of all of this and how to push forward and grow and the steps that you got to take, coming full circle with that, the people on the outside of that sphere that you're pushing through, they don't see all of those little steps and stuff. All they see is the end. They see you as a business owner and they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. But they don't see everything that you have done to get to that point. And that was, your brother was on here with his podcast and he was like, oh yeah, I want to be this person that has 1 million followers. And his first step caused him a little bit of heart palpitation, because he was like, what if I get out there and nobody follows and nobody likes me and nobody listens and they laugh, and stuff. Everybody had to go through those processes to get to that end thing. And when people are looking at that end, they don't realize, in order to get there, we have to keep shoving ourselves past those comfort zones and breaking through all of those pieces. And you saying, you got to have these steps and kind of get a little bit, we don't want to ever be bored. If you're bored, you're not going to, something's going to fall out and you're going to kind of start sliding backwards if you have got your business leveled so well that everything's running all smooth, and you're saying that's the best time to shake it up. And
it really is. I mean, we just ran into some staffing issues recently that have caused me to go from thinking that everything was under control and smooth and everything was fine, and thinking that I might have a little time to breathe in my life and feel like everything is, I was starting to feel good, like might have a little more time to play golf, or might have a little more time to ride my Harley or whatever.
Or add
and
another
then,
challenge.
yeah, whatever. And then had ran into some staffing issues, and so now I'm working harder as if I have more time, but I somehow have found myself working even harder than I normally do. But never losing sight of the fact that even though this is kind of come in the way and it's like a speed bump,
Right.
I still have bigger things that I have to keep pushing towards and keep chasing. I'm always preparing for other things. I'm always researching for other things.
Don't let that
and
stop
just
you
right,
from-
you don't stop. You don't say, well, we're just going to put that on hold. I mean, definitely, like moving to Panama City Beach was something we started to do a couple of years ago, and then the hurricane hit in October, and that really did derail us. I mean, I remember
Right.
when my real estate guy called, we were pretty close to signing a deal, and the guy calls and says, look, you obviously we just had Michael. He said, you might as well stop for at least a year, maybe even 2 years, at least for Panama City. Well,
Right.
I didn't stop. I just detoured Panama City, and we started looking at other locations. And
As
honestly,
close as you
when
could
we
get.
came back to Panama City last year, we actually had another property up in the Auburn, Opelika area in Alabama that we were looking at the exact same time. I mean,
Right.
it could have gone either way.
Right.
So we never stopped pushing. We never stopped dreaming. We never stopped, preparing and getting ready for that next location. It was just, okay, obviously hurricane, not a good time to be, they're rebuilding the city. It's not like it was a good time to open a business, but we did open a business just this last year during the pandemic.
Right.
And a lot of people have said, wow, that took a lot of guts. I mean, maybe it did, but to me, it was not going to be ever going to be the right time for
Right.
those kind of people that are either doubters or haters, or people that just see any obstacle, even the smallest one, as a reason to just
I had
give
the
up.
same thing happen when I opened up Answer Marketing. I had a grand opening with the chamber, and one of the people came up to me and shook my hand and said, I really appreciate that you're opening your business during this time. And I hadn't even given it a thought about the
Yeah.
financial crisis at I was just like, here's a need, and it's a passion of mine, and I'm going to start a business. And yeah, it's great to take advice from people, but don't let that stop you from
No, you got to
taking
keep
steps.
doing what you want to do and keep driving forward. It's always driving forward. If you're not driving forward, you might as well be going in reverse. There's no in
And
the middle.
on that mic drop moment, we stay tuned, because we are going to be right back. Jason and I are going to wrap up with the end segment, or the end episode of this segment. And I'm like totally fluttering because I don't normally do this part of it. And
Whatever it's called.
we're going to be right back, and we're going to talk a little bit more on this topic of pursuing entrepreneurial spirit and pushing forward. So don't turn that dial.
Live and local sports, high school sports, college football, the NFL, the Atlanta Braves, the Dan Patrick Show, the Herd with Colin Cowherd, the James Hale Show, the Coach's Daughter Show. Sports, we cover it all. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to ESPN Northwest Florida's Business Between the Lines show. Guys, we just had Alan Watson on. He went over some of his entrepreneurial spirit and pushing forward and pivoting and doing things no matter what happens. So we've got a lot to talk about. So we've only have 9 minutes and 43 seconds.
Hey, Jason.
Oh, hey, Christy. I totally botched the
I've
intro.
been doing everything backwards, and he just did everything
Normally
backwards.
she does the
so
intro. I did
it's
the
all
intro
good.
this time.
We're
Hey,
throwing
Jason.
off
Hey,
that.
Christy. Welcome back.
Which kind of falls into the whole theme of where we were saying, not being afraid of trying something new, not being afraid of, just riding that coattail of a smooth business going and challenging yourself so that you can keep leveling up and chasing that entrepreneurial spirit. You sometimes got to shake things up, and it's not always going to work. Like, that was totally jacked.
Yep.
But if you don't try these things, when stuff does happen to you, and we've talked about that in other sessions as well, or other shows, if you don't try things new, if you don't challenge yourself, if you don't, put yourself out there. Then when something does happen, like Hurricane Michael, or you lose all your staff, or, some other roadblock that gets thrown up in front of you, you will completely shut down and you'll freak out and you'll be like, I can't do this. And that's not the entrepreneurial spirit. You have to keep pushing forward. You have to keep plugging it out there. But.
So something I love about Alan and what he just shared in his story was he was kind of at a place where it's like things were going well. Good. And doing what a lot of people want to do. It's like, I want to start a business.
Work-life balance now.
Yeah, I want to start a business. I want to have employees. I want to do what I'm passionate about. And he had that at his Dothan store. And then he decided, hey, I want to do more than this. I want to work harder. I want to get something else. And so then he took a risk in a time where not many people are starting businesses, and a lot of people say they're not a good time to start a business. Last year, people advising against it. And then he started, another whole location, not just down the street in another part of the community, but in another state. He went from Dothan, Alabama to Panama City, Florida.
Right.
And it's growing, and there's hiccups, and there's things along the way, but he's chasing it. And if you guys have not seen his store in PCB, it's freaking gorgeous. They got this whole big golf simulator thing, and you can see the repair shop behind this glass wall. It's it's super cool. So, I think we could all do stuff like that.
Yeah, but again, it comes back to that. He loves to be challenged. He doesn't want to be bored. He wants his success level to keep going up. And that requires putting yourself out there, and that requires, taking steps that other people would be like, no, don't do that. And that is a big key of entrepreneurial spirit, is that desire to push forward, keep moving forward and stuff. And yeah, he could have stepped back and he could have said, I have the employees, I have the business, it's all running smooth, and now I can go play out on the golf field or the golf course and
I was about to call you out.
Well, I do. Okay, so I love golf. Golf does not love me, and it's probably because I don't learn the terminologies or anything else. I just go out there and whack the ball, and it's very freeing and very liberating to just slice
and you get to drive a golf cart.
And you get to drive a golf cart, and there's usually a beer cooler involved. So, yeah, it just has all of the key elements of a perfect day involved in it. But, yeah, when it comes to the end of the day, what do you want? What do you want out of your life and stuff? Some of us do. Some of us want everything to run smooth and we don't want any hiccups. But if you're not challenging yourself and you're not trying new things, like I said before, if something big in the community happens, you're probably going to set yourself back 100 years if you're not, trying out these new things.
And I think, too, like in a recent episode, we were talking about how people watch these, Toby Robbins and watch the Gary Vaynerchuks and these big, John Maxwell and these big
Dale
people,
Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie, and thinking that we need to just copy everything from an individual. But if that person doesn't kind of match your personality and match your desire for what you want your life to look like, it doesn't work. I think the same applies with Alan, where for him, it was best for him and his family and his desires and his passion and what he wants in his long-term goal to open up another store in another state. It made sense. Yeah. It made sense because he wants to expand and grow, and that's what aligns with his life goal and life passion. But not everybody is like that, and it's not that you're not a failure if you don't want to start another location at another at another state. It's just what Alan has been able to do, and I hope I'm able to do with my business and my life, is see long term what your goals are and where you want to go, and then figure out how to go there, and making sure the decisions you're making are lining up with that. Yeah. And not doing something just because someone else is doing it, not starting another store just because you saw someone else do it and they're happy, because starting a second store for you might be terrible. Right. It might not be the thing that you want because you might not want that lifestyle. But Alan is loving what he's doing and loving what he's continuing to be able to do.
Yeah, and other people have started businesses and they have failed and they pulled back a little bit and regrouped and stuff, and doing some of that stuff out there in that entrepreneurial world and everything, the perspective thing kind of has to come back in there, because I think some people set themselves up to fail because they don't see all those steps that Alan has taken, that you've taken, that I've taken, other people have taken to get to where they're at. All they see is that shiny object at the end. Oh, they're a business owner, and I want to be a business owner because I think that's going to solve all of my problems. When it's just going to add a whole lot more. Trust me, it's going to put a whole lot more out there. So you have to be realistic about this. I'm not saying don't do it. By all means, I will help you do it if that's what you really want to do. But you have to take a real look at that, and you have to put a plan into place. You have to. I love challenges. It keeps your blood flowing. It keeps the excitement element in there. If everything worked out smoothly, I would get bored and I'd be like, no, I don't want this business. I need to start something else, because you need that element of excitement. True entrepreneurs chase that. They chase that newness and what else can I do?
New, shiny. I wonder if I can touch it.
Yes. So, but again, don't get caught into that loop either, and always, not perfecting something before you take on something else. There is an element of timing.
And
that
finding
has to
stuff
happen.
that's, is something you actually really love. Like Alan loves golf.
Right.
Like he loves the sport of golf, and he also loves like the sport of business.
And we talked about that in one of our other episodes about the perfect key to success is finding a way to make money off of your passion.
Yeah.
And he did. You did. I did.
Yeah. And what the beautiful thing is then we all get to work together doing all the stuff that we really, really like to do. And then after the fact, it's like, oh yeah, and we get to make money doing this. Like between
and
recording sessions, I'm sitting here like laughing my butt off. I'm like, I cannot believe I do this for a living.
Right.
Like I'm in work right now. That's insane.
Yeah, I was posting a picture. I was out at Vortex Spring, and I was like, this is my office today. But everybody has to kind of also understand that's a snapshot. That's one moment. This is one moment in time.
Yeah.
Vortex Spring was one moment in time in my day. I actually pulled a almost all-nighter because I had work that I had to do, computer work and design work.
And there's times where I'm sitting and editing a video for 6 hours straight, and I feel like I'm going to pull my hair out. Because it's not like, there's like the fun part of editing, and then there's the, okay, I just got to grab this clip and put this one and go here, and then this one and go here, and tweak this audio and do this and this and this and this and this.
So we are saying...
I don't love that part of it.
Right. Chase the entrepreneurial spirit, but be realistic about it. Understand, there's the good with the bad and everything. And when you take a look at somebody like Alan and you see the shiny thing that he has, he works very hard to get that. And it's, if you have a business and you have employees and they all walk out the door because somebody else down the street gives them twice the amount, guess who works every day to make sure that store stays open until they get another step? The owner. You are the sole responsibility. So there's good and bad with everything. But guys, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for listening to us in our backwards, forwards, whichever way we deliver it.
Sometimes sideways.
Right. If you are someone that has a value that our community could benefit from, you've overcome something and you have a unique perspective on a trial or a tribulation that somebody else in business or in life might be facing, we would love to talk with you. So reach out to us on our Business Between the Lines Facebook page, message us, pitch us the idea. We would love to sit down with you. Jason would love to talk with you for 3, 5, 6 hours because that's what he loves to do. But make sure that you guys reach out to us because we would like to meet with you. And thank you, Vortex Spring, Highland Finance, Aero Pest Service. We couldn't do this. We couldn't have the fun that we have. We couldn't share all of this information, all this value. And hopefully you guys have all been learning something from this, taking a little bit of tips away to make your day better, make your business better. So tune back in, Business Between the Lines, 8 a.m. every Sunday morning.
Thanks for listening to Business Between the Lines. Join us every Sunday morning beginning at 8 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.